episode of the Billy Ho Show. Well, we've got a lot to get through, so let's get started. And with me is Josh De Jong. How do you do?
Good, thank you.
Now, you're 97.
Yeah, I'll be 98 in September.
And you told me before you were going to go for you have to renew your license periodically as we go past 70.
Every 2 years, yes.
And so if you're past this one, you'll take you through to 100.
That's right. That's right, yes. Yes.
So when were you born? 1920?
1919.
1919.
It's September 1919.
And so you've come through the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, and 60s. And when did you sort of stop working?
74.
74?
Yes, 74, because we went to Auckland in 74. My wife said to me one day, she said, if you don't get off the farm, the boys will, because your ways are different to theirs.
Oh, okay. So you.
We transferred the farm to them, and we went to live in Harbour Road, Mission Bay.
And so you were considered old school.
Yeah, old school. Yes, yes. Yeah.
Now coming through to the 30s, do you remember growing up? Where did you actually grow up?
All around Mangatagi, Maramura, Bombay, Pukekohe. We used to go to, there was dances you could go to, you know, once or twice a month. And
is that where you met your wife, at a dance?
No, I didn't meet my wife at a dance. When we were carting cream, her father used to milk 2 cows, and he had a little cream can, a gallon cream can, and he used to put it out. And this Sunday I was doing the driving, because the driver had the day off, and I went to pick up the cream can. This is what I say, and there was a queen bee sitting on the can, and I picked it up, and the queen bee flew into the cab of the truck, and it went. I tried to get it out, but it wouldn't go out, and it went all the way to Tuakau and back.
Wow! And
when I got to the gate, it flew out, and that's how I met my wife.
Okay. So he wasn't Queen Bee for short, was she?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So was your father a carrier?
No, he was a farmer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He was born in Cox's Creek in Auckland in 1980 something.
1880.
And he had no schooling. He didn't like schooling, and he went into J.J. Craig and Winston's.
Wow.
And used to help with the horses, the draft horses. There used to be a bus going up Wellesley Street, and the bus was always 3 horses abreast, and they had to put the 2 leaders on to go up to the top, hook up, take the bus up and bring the 2 leaders back ready for the next bus. He came down to Pukekohe here. He used to deliver meat for Brown the butcher on horseback. He used to put the cow over the wither and put the meat in and out to here.
Wow.
And then him and Mr. Keith from Wairanga, they loved their horses and drays, and they put the first metal on the Klondike Road out at over here, is it, or Glen Murray up there? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, previous to that it was just mud.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. He rented a property from St John's College in Meadowbank there. It was called West Tamaki then. I was born at the house there. Anyway, he rented this property. He used to milk about 30 cows, and they stand the milk in water all day, and at night they would do the afternoon milking, and then he had 3 horses abreast in a covered wagon, and he used to take his milk and 2 neighbours into Newmarket every night, and get home about 10:30 at night, feed the horses and be ready for the next day.
Wow.
And then I was born there, and I went to school at St Heliers in Keys's bus. And just threepence a day was the fare to go to school.
Threepence.
Threepence.
There and back.
Yeah, there and back, yeah. I think it was 1928. Dad shifted to Manurewa, Alverson Road in Manurewa, and I finished my schooling at Manurewa. And he was milking on a farm there, and he had the single-tire dentist truck, and he used to cart milk from different farmers, and Sir Ernest Davis's farm at Takanini, and Kempton Brothers down at Mahia. He used to cart that. Stonix's had a depot in Papatoe, and every evening, yeah. And then he came down to Kaiawa with the horses and drays. Took 3 days to come down.
Wow.
And that's how he started. That's how I started.
Right. So did you enjoy school, or you couldn't wait to get away from the place?
I didn't like. No, I wasn't a good reader, and sums I couldn't do maths or anything. But I loved my football and sport and yeah.
Good on you.
Yeah.
So so when you left school, did you just go and work on the farm or help your father?
The day after we sat for our Standard 6 exam, I was down at the farm. I was 12.
Wow.
It was 1932. And that's just after the Napier earthquake.
Wow. And so in that time, 32, things are starting to tighten up. There was a recession on.
Yeah,
yeah.
yes.
And
if you had no money, you had no shoes, you went barefoot.
wow.
Yeah.
So having a farm sort of saw you through all that.
That's right, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So was there fuel restrictions back then?
No.
So he could still run his truck.
Yeah.
And take the cream. So when did he have to have a license to do this? A good service license.
Yeah.
Wyndham Owen Jenkinson.
You had to display that in your truck.
Oh, okay. So a route between Kaiawa and Auckland once monthly.
Yeah, this is what Jenkinson had.
Oh, right. So he's bought this from Jenkinson.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Route to be via Pocono and back loading from Auckland to consist of goods for Miranda and Kaiawa.
Yeah, that's
Pocono railway station to be Mangatangi,
Yeah.
Miranda and Kaiawa. Was there trains go to Mangatangi?
No, Pocono.
Oh, Pocono,
No.
yes. Between Pocono railway station and Waihihi.
Yeah.
And that's along the coast.
That's right.
Yes,
Yeah.
So it's all spelled out, and if you were caught outside of this or outside
That's
of
right.
ours, you could
That's
get
right.
a fine.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Once a month. So you'd have to plan this. He'd have to plan this month, wouldn't he?
Plan
Plan to, you can only go to Auckland once a month, so you'd have to have.
with the truck. Yeah.
Yes.
But I think later on, we went we got to once a week. As we used to cart all the goods and for Cashmore's mill at Aururi and the pub at Kaiawa and all residents would get stuff from J. Jones in Auckland and the Farmers Trading Company and all those.
Wow. But I just stepping back a bit, it was just interesting that your father worked for J.J. Craig. I actually did a bit of time with J.J. Craig. I drove a little small comma that had a 1.5 yard tray on it, and all the other trucks were 7-ton commas and went everywhere.
Yeah.
And Winston's, they were
Winston's,
going
that's right,
back
yes.
in the early 1900s.
Yeah, sure. Yes. Yeah.
Making, turning out stone and sand and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. So they're a very old company.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just interesting, folks, that, here's a man that can remember all that. His father was there, and it wasn't too long after that, and you were in the business. So when did you start the business?
When we bought Marshall Brothers had a cream contract with the Franklin Dairy Company, and it was for sale, and Dad bought it in 37, was it 1937?
Oh, okay.
It was a Fargo truck, and we replaced that with a new Dodge.
At the time, you know, back then there were restrictions on what you could buy and what you couldn't buy.
No, there wasn't really.
No, just
you'd buy anything.
wow.
Yeah.
I thought there were tariffs, or maybe that came later.
Perhaps, yeah.
Yeah, because at some point along the way we could only buy British. You could buy American, but the tariffs were 75 to 100%. But if you bought English, it was only like 5 to 10% import tariffs.
Okay.
But anyway,
yeah.
so your Fargo is definitely American, although they did do a Fargo, I think, the Q Dodge people in the UK.
Well, we had a Fargo, and I see in the papers there we changed it to a six-wheeler.
Oh, okay.
We can't find the photo because we were carting firewood at the time, and yeah.
So you organised to put another axle under the lazy
we put a
axle.
trailing axle. Yeah. When we sold that, when we sold the Fargo six-wheeler, that's when we bought the Morris Arctic.
Oh, okay. So that was a 1948 thereabouts. That one, or was it earlier?
About the middle of the war, about 42 or 3.
Oh, right. In that period as well, the military came and got your truck, and you more or less lost
That
it.
was a bit later on, yes.
Oh,
yeah,
righto.
yeah.
Did that happen to you?
Yes, the two of them, the two smaller ones, the Chev and the Dodge, were painted army colour, and we had to come into Pukekohe on a Sunday for manoeuvres.
Does that mean they teach you how to drive a truck?
Teach you how to drive a truck, that's right, yes. yeah.
And so how did you find the Morris? Reliable?
Yeah, very, very good. I was just thinking the other night, it had one fault, that it had a vacuum tank. And if you were on a long haul with your foot hard to the floor, it'd slow up because the petrol wasn't getting there. You had to learn you could feel it slowing off. You had to ease the accelerator.
Like the pump.
We should have put an electric pump on, but we didn't. No, it was very good. Used to take 8 tons of fertiliser quite well. Yeah.
Did it have a 2-speed diff in it?
No,
just
no,
four gears.
Just, yeah.
Wow. And how did you find the Arctic, and what was the reason for getting an Arctic in the first place?
Well, the reason, George Moore used to drive for Fletcher's, at Fletcher's Transport at Padamahoe, and they had the first Arctic in Franklin, I think. And he said to me one day, I started getting a new truck, well, he said, buy an Arctic because it carries the load so much better.
Oh, okay. Well, sort of spread across 3 axles,
yeah, it seems to
yeah.
pull the load better, yeah.
Wow. I drove, that's my forte, Arctics.
Oh, yes,
When I was driving trucks, I just drove Arctics most of the time. And I got my licence by accident because the trailer that we were towing at the time, I worked for Ridgeway Circus, and towed a lion in a lion cage, and then a caravan on behind there. But this lion cage, suddenly they changed the weights, and this lion cage is now too heavy. You need a heavy trailer licence, as did a lot of other people in the circus and fairground time. So we all ended up in Gisborne, and the cops came, and we all had to back this comma Arctic around a couple of drums and come back, and the next guy you get in and round you go, and in the end they just wrote out all our licences. Here you go, and now you've got a heavy trailer licence and you can drive an Arctic. So that's what I did.
Yeah, but I was very lucky that when we got the second contract for the cream from Mangatingi Kaiawa to Tuakau, we had dead running, so that's when I bought the half acre at Mangatangi.
Oh, okay, yes.
And we shifted out there, and we got a chap, Tim McLeod, came to work for us. He was single, and when him and I, Bats, we had a lean-to on the big garage there for a while, and he got married and lived there, and I stopped with him for a little while. And he was the one that that kept the business going. He had 2 children and wasn't called up.
Oh, okay.
And he kept the business going until it was sold later on.
So, did you buy that? Was that a sort of like a yard for you? That at
It was
Mangatangi?
our depot. Yeah, we bought half an acre and built a big garage and yeah.
And the house, I see there's an old house there now. Is that yours?
Well, that little house, yeah, that's where Beth, my wife and I were married in 43. And it's just a bit rotten now, but
That's where
it
you
was our
live.
first house.
Wow. So then I see in your photographs you've got a Morris commercial bus.
Oh, yes.
So how did that come about?
Well, when we sold the transport business, while we had the transport, there was all the hills where the farm is now. It was all in tea tree and that, and we bought it, and we decided to go back onto the farm, sell the transport, and when the children were school age, I managed to get the contract for the taking the children to school. Yeah.
So you needed a bus, and that's what you got. Was that already made like that, or did somebody build it?
No, D. McKell Wallace in Newmarket, they built it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they did a wonderful job.
Yeah, it's a good. Yeah, it's a good job. Yes. Yeah.
And you
yeah.
sort of, because last week we were talking about Diamond Tea buses.
Oh yes.
You know, and they were everywhere. I think even Pukekohe had a Diamond Tea bus, but the actual bodywork was just, perfect, absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Credit to the men who did it.
Yeah. Well, Caverners used to do all the Diamond Tea buses, and Dad used to get all his springs and that reset and made at Caverners. Yeah. Well, and my uncle and my mother's brother, Douglas Brown, he worked for Caverners. So as a child, I went there into the office and saw him and all the works that went on there.
Yes. Because I think they had a triple click of the pie, because the Diamond Teas would come,
yeah,
and then they'd build cabs on them for trucks and then build bodies on them, so they clicked that ticket as well, you know. So
That's
they
right,
sold
yes.
a Diamond Tea and they actually built it up for you.
Yeah.
Back in the old days, the boats would come in and
To the
around
wharf.
to the Firth of Thames, and there was a wharf there.
Yeah, there was a wharf
and
and
that's how the
whatever.
supplies came for this area.
You know, most of the supplies came into Kiowa.
Oh, okay.
They had the big long wharf there, and Parry Brothers had the Hairuri, I think it was, that used to come down there. And Ted Ashby used to work for them.
So that wharf was no longer there. When did that disappear?
It was cut down because the Japanese were coming.
Oh, really?
That's why it was cut. Yeah.
So they just
So
chopped
they couldn't use the wharf. Yeah.
and never replaced.
Never. No.
You get on with the fuel during the war years. Everybody had to have a coupon to get some fuel.
Yeah,
and
well,
a lot of people that we've discovered had a coal burner, gas burner that changed whatever into gas that could run your car.
On the car, yeah.
And they had
yeah.
that sitting in the boot or on the go, or even had a big plastic bag on the top, some of them, to run their cars
never
during
saw
that
that.
time. No. Did people in the area have those little gas burners on their machines?
No, I can't recall anyone in the area. I've seen them on the cars, but I don't think anyone.
Locals.
When we had the cream run, the farmers would give us their allocation of petrol, and we used to have 12-gallon drums, and most of them had a 12-gallon license for the month.
Yes.
And we had our own petrol pump and a plume pump.
Yes.
And used to deliver it to them.
So your petrol bowser, was that you had to pump it up into the glass and
Yeah,
then pour
push
it
it
in?
in. Yeah, that's right.
So
yeah.
you're doing one side and then the other. And,
That's right. Yes.
So
yeah. That's right. Yeah.
we were down in a place called Sutton, which is up in the Southern Alps more or less, and we saw a lady up there whose father run trucks, and he had this bowser of the same, but it was still in use today. They
Oh,
still
yeah.
used it, you know, the
Yeah,
pump up the
yeah.
petrol, pour it into the cars.
Yeah, it's still used.
Still
yeah.
used. It was just amazing. It had two big doors to open up, and everything was there, and the little pump all locked in, all nice.
Yeah.
So Plume, and I think another petrol company was Europa. Did you have anything to do
Oh,
with?
that didn't start until years later, I don't think.
Okay, all right. So
Yeah.
so there was Plume. What else was there?
There was Shell,
Yes,
Texaco.
really.
I think that's about all there was.
The three of them.
Yeah.
So BP, Shell, Caltex, all these ones that we know today
Yeah.
weren't heard of.
Have come on later. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. When we sold that, when we sold the Fargo six-wheeler, that's when we bought the Morris Arctic.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, it's been a wonderful trip down memory lane, and I was just a baby when you were, sort of in the peak of your career, as were a lot of guys watching the show, I'm sure. But it was just great to be able to go back into that history, and you're the only way that we can actually do that. Listen to what your stories and what have you. So, congratulations on your getting up to 97, and 100's not far away, and you're going to get your license to take you right through to being 100. So that's an absolute milestone for you. So thank you very, very much.
Yeah, thank you.
And
thank you, Bill.
it was just there you go, folks. Joshua De Jong and truck driver from yesteryear.
Yeah.
What I've got here is a copy of Talking Trucks. This is a book I wrote a couple of years ago, and it's the history of New Zealand trucking. And it's all from the programs that I did between 2013 and 2016. I'm going to let this go for $25. So it's a special. Father's Day is coming up, Christmas is coming up. So if you'd like your copy, there's my phone number, 027 277 0717. Just send me a text, or email me, billhoheper@extra.co.nz to get your copy. $25 and the history of New Zealand trucks. Welcome to our fishing section. What a great day. It's been like this all summer. Lovely, calm water. And what we're going to do in our fishing section is look at what people have sent me to play. They've gone out for a fish and they've done their thing and they're sending it to us, and you, the viewers, can enjoy it. What we're going to do is once a month, Captain Asparagus and I will assess all the footage, decide which was the best one, and those people will get a great prize. So if you've got some fishing footage, send it to me. Just email me, billhoheper@extra, or give me a call, 027 277 0717, and we can talk about how to get your footage to us. So what we're going to start with is the old canopy ad we did in 1993. I'm sure you'll still enjoy it.
For style, strength, and versatility, nothing beats a crown canopy.
What we're going to do now is look back at some of the things we did as kids in the 1950s and 60s. And to start off, I've got a little rocket. And what you did with this little rocket is you unscrewed the top, you put some caps in, and what caps are is just a little roll of gunpowder bits, little clips of gunpowder on a roll. And you put them in a gun and you went bang, 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 and these things exploded. But with this little rocket, you just unscrewed the top, put some caps in, screwed it back up again, threw it up in the air, and when it landed on a little bouncy thing, boing, and it exploded the caps, and everybody thought that was real fun. And it's amazing at school time how these things come around. There were marbles, there were tops, there were rockets, there were hula hoops, And all these things had their little phase in time, or little time, you know, they just happened. One week you're playing marbles, next week you're doing tops, and it just happened. But anyway, this little guy, it was a great bit of fun, and you might remember it as well. My friend Les Power, he sent me a picture of what I thought was an industrial version of the little rocket made of metal, and yeah, but that went really bang. And then we did the bolts. You might remember the bolt bombs we used to make as well. So anyway, what I've got here is a copy of Talking Trucks. This is a book I wrote a couple of years ago, and it's the history of New Zealand trucking. And it's all from the programs that I did between 2013 and 2016. I'm going to let this go for $25. So it's a special. Father's Day is coming up, Christmas is coming up. So if you'd like your copy, there's my phone number, 027 277 0717. Just send me a text or email me, billhoheper@extra.co.nz to get your copy. $25 and the history of New Zealand trucks. Now let's join the Goose Rooter from Geraldine.
Hey, how's it going? It's old Goose Rooter here from Geraldine. So I'm going on a wee bit of a tiki tour over to the wild west coast. So to get from the good coast to the west coast, you got to go through Arthur's Pass National Park. So through here, standing up above the Terra Gorge Viaduct. So a lot of people don't know what it is, where it was built, and that sort of thing. All they're doing is driving from A to B. So she's a bit windy out here today, blowing a bit of a gale. So I've come for a walk under the viaduct, so it's quite impressive. There's about 5,000 cubic metres of concrete poured, 80,000 cubic metres of rocks and stones moved around. So what it's actually replaced is up this other side here, just below that snow line, if you can see it, is what they called the zigzag road. So it was a notoriously dangerous road anyway, but all these shingle screes used to quite often close it, and you couldn't come across with a towing vehicle, whether it's a ute and trailer or a truck and trailer. So this viaduct is 440 metres of solid concrete has replaced this dangerous shingle scree road. So it's actually very impressive to actually come underneath. Whose bright idea was it to walk down? Walking down so much easier than walking up. But anyway, I'll let you carry on. I just thought I'd stop and show you what was underneath it. I'm going back up to the truck where it's nice and warm. Cheers, Robbie, over and out. Woohoo!
Well, that's our first episode. Our next episode will include a car, very interesting one, and a very interesting tractor. So we'll see you then.